Alright, so by now, I think you've heard that the Warriors are going to be playing against the Lakers for the 7th seed. And, it's somewhat funny because, just a couple of years ago, we were seeing LeBron and Steph in the finals playing against each other, and now they're fighting for a 7th seed. And, this just goes to show that we shouldn't take things for granted when it comes to life in general, but also the NBA. Because, like I said, a couple of years ago, we were seeing these two battle out in the NBA finals. Now they're playing for the 7th seed. And, next we know, they're not even going to be playing at all. So I'm just here to soak it all in, man. Like, for real. But, let's actually talk about who is going to win the matchup between the Warriors and the Lakers. And you do have to remember, it's only one game. Like, this is no playoff series. This is not a 7-game series. It's one game, one and done, just like March Madness. But, on paper, the Lakers are the better team, no doubt. Like, they have LeBron, they have AD, they have Andre Drummond, Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso, KCP. They have all these guys, and I do have to give credit where credit is due. Like, the Warriors have been hot recently. And like guys like Michael Mulder, JTA, Jordan Poole, Juan Toscano Anderson, Andrew Wiggins, Kent Bazemore, they've all stepped up. Like, really, they've stepped up and they've improved massively throughout the season. Like, at the beginning of the season, I was saying like this team was trash, and I wasn't even sure if they're going to make the playoffs, if I'm being honest. Because I saw like the way they played, and they just didn't fit well with Curry and all that stuff. But they figured it out throughout the season, and they've really embraced their roles. And especially Jordan Poole has, he's really stepped up his game throughout these last games and this last stretch of the season. And then you also have Andrew Wiggins, who's somewhat had an underrated season, honestly. Because like when he wasn't on the Timberwolves, everyone was saying that, oh, the guy's a bust. He was a former first overall pick, and look at what he's producing. And now he's on the Warriors, averaging like 20 points per game on solid efficiency and playing good defense as well. Like, he's being a solid player, like a solid third option, sometimes even second. Like, yeah, Andrew Wiggins is more so a second option than a third option, if we're being honest. Andrew Wiggins is a second option. Like, he's solid for real. But ultimately, it's against like this team, Warriors and Lakers, it's going to come down to LeBron versus Steph and AD versus the rest of the Warriors. Right? And the way I see it, it's going to be harder to contain two superstars as opposed to one. And the Warriors don't have a great defensive center that matches the size of AD. Like, Draymond can try and hold his own, but like I said, AD has a size advantage. LeBron's probably gonna hunt mismatches, and looking at it, everyone apart from Draymond and maybe Wiggins is a mismatch on the Warriors. So there's that. Like, the Warriors are gonna have to try and do what they did against the Grizzlies. Give Curry the ball, and when it's forced out of his hands, the others need to capitalize on the situation. They need to capitalize on the attention he's getting. That's how Draymond got going early in the first quarter against the Grizzlies. And that's part of Curry's game people don't appreciate enough, in my opinion. Like, Curry's defender is only concerned with Curry, and he won't play help. He will literally stay attached with Curry the whole game. And I think you've seen this clip by now of the 2018 NBA Finals where the Warriors had the fast break. Curry and KD were both running the break, but the Cavs decided to guard Curry on the perimeter and rather let Kevin Durant run straight down the lane, down the paint, and get a dunk. That is how much attention Curry gets, even without the ball. Like, Curry didn't have the ball, but they'd rather let Kevin Durant get a wide open dunk instead of, taking a chance on Curry's 3-point shot. That is also part of playmaking. It's not only dishing out assists. It's of how much you open up the game or the floor for your teammates. And Curry does that on an astronomical level. Yes, like I was saying, like, the defender's only concerned with Curry, and he will literally stay attached to him the whole game. And yesterday you could see that DeLon Brooks didn't care whether you were shooting a jump shot right next to him as long as he was guarding Curry. Like, he wouldn't move an inch. Usually he would play help and bother the shoots or whatever, but when guarding Curry, none of that happened. And like I said, this is the gravity people talk about when talking about Curry's gravity. But speaking of DeLon Brooks though, we need to give this man his flowers for the amazing job he did guarding Curry yesterday. Now you might say that, oh, Curry dropped 46, so he couldn't have been that good. Well, that just tells me that you didn't watch the game. Because in the first 2 possessions of the game, Curry didn't touch the ball, mainly because DeLon Brooks was literally hounding him. You know, DeLon Brooks was so obsessed with defending Curry. I wouldn't be surprised if Curry couldn't even take a single breath without DeLon Brooks right there to watch it. Seriously though. And you know, for those that don't believe me, Curry shot 4 for 14 when guarded by DeLon Brooks, and shot 12 for 22 when guarded by someone other than DeLon Brooks. So there you have it, you know. Like, Curry got hounded. Fortunately enough, he was still able to get his shots up. And when he didn't, guys like Draymond, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, JTA, Michael Moore, they stepped up. And you know, like I said at the beginning of the video, those guys have stepped up, you know, throughout the whole season. They weren't great at the beginning, but they figured it out along the ride, and stuff like that is great to see though. Stuff like that is really great to see. So who do I actually see winning this game? It's probably going to be the Lakers, because they just have the better team. Like, who would willingly bet against LeBron James in a must-win game? And I know this isn't a must-win, but if the Lakers actually want to repeat as NBA champions this year, then they'd rather face the Suns and then ultimately the Nuggets or the Blazers in the second round before advancing to the conference finals, instead of having to face the Clippers in the second round. You know? But, you know, if Curry can get it going shooting-wise, then the Warriors stand a chance of winning. But that probably won't happen, because Frank Vogel is such a good defensive coach against guards for some reason. Like, the Lakers' game plan will probably just be hound Steph and let the rest beat us. And if Curry won't get it going, then it's pretty much over though. You know, the Lakers would also be really desperate to win this game, like I said, since it would secure them an easier path to the finals if they win. You know, they'd only have to beat the Suns, then the Nuggets or the Blazers, and then at worst, the Clippers in Western Conference Finals. You know, so if the Lakers fall to the 8th seed though, they'd most likely face the Clippers in the second round already, and that's not something I think they're looking forward to. You know, but however this turns out, I'm just excited to see LeBron and Steph battling it out against each other in the playoffs, because, you know, we shouldn't take this stuff for granted, man. You know, next we know, these guys are going to retire and we're going to be like, man, I really wish I appreciated them more, and all that type of stuff. Yeah, but watch out for a Twitter field day regardless of who loses, because you know the Curry's a playoff joker people are waiting just as much as the fraud or Jordan would never people, you know? Like, that's all I'm saying, man. Twitter is going to be toxic, really. Twitter's going to be toxic, man. But either way, comment down below who you think is going to win, and why not subscribe while you're at it. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this was MCG. Peace out.